I forgot, man. I forgot to add myself to the stage during the 30-second countdown. That's how you know I'm tired. Hello, welcome back to another live. Welcome back to the YouTube channel. Hope you guys are all doing well, whether you're watching this live or on the playback. And whether you were watching this live or on the playback, make sure to leave a like as you're coming in, people. Pause and subscribe if you are new. We're trying to hit 1K as soon as possible, and we've got big plans. We've got big plans for as soon as we hit 1K. So stay in tune, people, because we're only just getting started when it comes to this YouTube thing, even though we've been doing it for 3 years. But listen, this is the Tottenham Hotspur versus West Ham United match preview. Don't get me wrong, guys. I tried getting a guest, but it's very hard to get guests on the channel half the time because everyone's busy, man. Everyone's busy. Everyone's busy. So you're just getting me for now. You're just getting me for now. I'm sure we'll have a guest on the match preview for the Manchester United game next week. But yeah, man, I'm doing it on a Thursday instead of a Friday because if I was to do this on a Thursday at 10 p.m. where I usually do it, or even Thursday night in general, or Friday night in general, um, and the game is at 12:30, there's not going to be enough people that are going to watch the preview before the game has started. So I thought I'd do it on a Thursday, as the game is early on the Saturday for once. We are playing at 12:30 as well, and yeah, so that's what I'm giving everyone a chance to to listen to my thoughts before the game, carries on and stuff as well. We're obviously going to do the same usual things as we always do on these match previews. Talk about the game, talk about the opposition, talk about the press. I guess talk about the press conference if we can catch anything non-ball. Not that I want to listen to whatever this manager's saying. To be completely honest with you, uh, delve into many different things. And big up to Musty as well. Big up to yourself as you're always here. Um, and as he says, people make sure to leave a like as you're coming in. Now, the sad thing about this is Fulkirk is still injured, people. Now, I've read Shane Thomas put out the quote from Lopetegui saying there's still complication with his injury. We thought he would be out for 2 weeks, but it's been over a month. Right now, he is out, and I don't see anything about how long he will be out. Okay, so that means he's probably out for a long time. He's not coming back anytime soon. Honestly, this is why I don't get excited anymore. Well, I don't get excited at West Ham in general. I don't get angry anymore. I don't care. Like I've stopped like putting any sort of actual emotion out when it comes to this club because I'm tired of not seeing a striker thrive at this club. I'm tired of it. I've gone through the striker curse before. There's a whole video on my channel where I'm talking about the West Ham striker curse. I am tired of seeing strikers not thrive in a good environment at this club. I've seen it with Fulkirk. I've seen it with Skimaka, Haller, Danny Ings. Like Antonio wasn't even a striker when we signed him. We signed him as a winger. Anautovic was another one that was semi-successful. He was a winger converted into a striker. Those are only semi-successful ones. Then before that, we're going to Diafra Saka and at times Chicharito, at times Andy Carroll. Like this is what we're struggling with. But that's been the problem. That's been the problem. Like we've had so many different kind of strikers at this club. And none of them have thrived because we've been the problem this whole time. It's not because all the strikers we've signed are terrible. Don't get me wrong, we have signed some terrible ones like Ajeti and Zaza and Kaleri and all these bums. But I'm tired of it. I'm tired of it. This is why I'm not angry anymore when we concede a goal. Even though I demand a win this weekend no matter what because it's Tottenham. I don't want to see us drawing to Tottenham or we drew away to Tottenham. Like this fucking fan base would celebrate a draw at home last season to Tottenham just because we gave it a go. Fuck off. Like it's this kind of mentality of why the club is the way it is, not because of anything. Well, it is because of other things as well, but a lot of it is because like a lot of people are just happy with the bare minimum, and that's an English thing as well. But if you are like me that wants to be a consistent European side and wants to actually compete for the top end of the table. Not saying a fucking league or anything. We're not going to get there, but try and get top four and win a cup in the FA Cup or Carabao Cup. Then this isn't the mentality to have. This isn't the mentality to have. I'm happy with a draw. I'm not. I want 3 points. Big up to Carl as well. Hope you're doing well. This is the thing. Like people were happy with a draw against Brentford because it's because we lost there last season. It's fine to draw this season because they compare every game to last season. But we also drew to Aston Villa at home and we lost to Aston Villa this season. So you can't do all of that. You can't do that because we beat Chelsea last season at home. You can't be talking about the fact, it doesn't matter, we lost to Chelsea at home this season. Like, you could do it for both fucking times. This is why I don't compare this season to last season, because this season is just last season 2.0, but just with a different manager. The difference is that I can see slightly more positives, slightly, when it comes to this season, ever so slightly, but it's still not good enough for the standard that I want to be at. But that's just me in it. Did you hear about Liam Payne? Yeah, I heard about this last night. It's sad to see what happened. Like, it was a bit of a shock. I haven't really followed his like story as much, so I'm like, I don't know whether he was going through anything or whether he, fell off on purpose of the balcony and stuff like that. But that's sad, man. Rest in peace. Because that was a shock because he was 31 as well. So it's kind of like it's a bit disturbing every time you hear someone die that young, especially if someone that wasn't really getting into trouble as well. Um, yeah, I don't really know how to take that. But yeah, as much as I like, cool, I didn't listen to his music or anything. It's just like when you see stuff like that, when you see someone famous, non-famous, down of that age, so it's just like, ugh, it's a bit peak. But back to the football, that was the Lopetegui talking about Fulkirk. Like, we knew Antonio was going to start anyway, and I do have a feeling that week in, week out, that Antonio was going to be the guy to start. Like, regardless, because this is the thing with our manager. He likes Antonio anyway. And to be fair, Antonio did play well in the Ipswich game. My problem is, I'm afraid we're going to absolutely get slapped up this game because when we bounce off international breaks, I think if there was a stat for like a record of West Ham coming back off the international breaks going into the first games every time, then we would see the record for where it is. I don't think we ever really win a game after we come back from an international break. We saw what happened against Fulham, but we saw the excuses um, coming out after that when we drew that game as well. And the whole thing with that is when we drew to Fulham and we were playing Souček at a 10 instead of Paquetá, and we had Alvarez and Rodriguez, Souček as the whole midfield in general, and we were just knocking it long, and then we somehow nicked a draw at the end against a very good Fulham side, who so far shown that they're not to be messed with. And I've only lost one game, and that was against Man City. We've basically seen excuses galore, and the whole reason why Paquetá wasn't playing because he came back off late against Brazil. So I have a feeling he's not going to play this game either, which it just means he's not going to play a creative midfielder in the 10. He's not going to play Kudus in the 10 and play Somerville off the left, which should be the alternative if you're not going to play Paquetá in the 10. Or even Soler. I don't think Soler's a 10, in my opinion, but cool. Whatever. Whatever. It is what it is. We're not going to see the teams that we want to see. But even though Paquetá has been terrible this season, we still look lost without him, because I feel like we rely on him too much. And we saw this last season as well. We didn't win a game without him. I don't think we won a single Premier League game without him, or that was just a record that lasted to an extent. I think every Premier League game that we won, he started or he played, at least. And there was a reason for that, because we just relied on his creativity. As much as we stifled creativity last season, the only bit of creativity that we had was because of him. It was all because of him. That was a big problem. That was a really, really big problem. It still is a problem, to be honest, because you actually do have no excuses this season. Because if you have an even bigger squad, you have more alternatives. You have even more players that you can choose from. Even more different players, different type of players to change your game and stuff as well. So you don't really have an excuse when it comes to, but we have injuries or we had to bench this player. You have players there. You have a Mohamed Kudus who can play the 10. So then you can move Somerville off the left. There's not an excuse after that. If Paquetá is going to be dropped because he came back from Brazil and all this. Then what about Rodriguez coming back from Argentina? What about Antonio coming back from Jamaica? What about Alvarez coming back from Mexico? Like, if we're going to use that excuse, like, players have, like, teams have players traveling all around the world, like, in a league anyway. I don't think Son went to Korea for Tottenham, but usually they would have Son in Korea and stuff. I actually think he's going to be back for our game, apparently, according to Postecoglou, because Werner hasn't been doing it for them. A shock, Timo Werner hasn't been doing it for them. Then Human Son is probably going to come straight back in, and we know what Human Son is like in this fixture. But then again, we've got Wan-Bissaka, and I do trust Wan-Bissaka against any left winger 1v1. And we know that he's been one of the better players this season, so we've obviously got him to stifle Human Son. I don't even think Human Son's that good anymore. Doesn't mean he's not capable of a goal anymore, but still, it's still Human Son at the end of the day. And this is the thing, like, when we come up against Tottenham, especially Tottenham away, I'm never confident in general. I know our record isn't terrible. I know it's not been terrible already. I'm trying to think, like, last season, we won the season before we lost, I think. Season before that we lost. Season before that we won. Yeah, we lost before that. But to be fair, our record lately and at their new stadium isn't great. It's very up and down, isn't it? I think we've got two wins and 3 losses or something like that. This has got to be the 6th visit. We won in 18-19 and last season. So, and like, you get a balance of, when I always look at Tottenham fans going towards this game, you get half of Tottenham fans that, undermine us, really confident and stuff like that as well. They're like, we should be battering West Ham just because they try and belittle us. And you've got the other side of the Tottenham fan base that always don't like this fixture and know it's a bit of a banana skin for them at times. For me, I look at this and I just think neither team are that good. Neither team are that good. They didn't do enough in the transfer window, in my opinion. And I've said this before with them. They needed to properly rejuvenate their whole attack pretty much, whether it's like Solanke and Odegaard were signed, cool, but I don't think Odegaard was the starter on the left that they needed. Solanke is a good signing. I think if he gets the right service, he can change a game for you. Again, to be fair to Ange Postecoglou, moving Kulusevski into the centre has changed it a bit for them. I do think, though, if they go with the Madison, Kulusevski, Benton core midfield, that could be run over. But do I think we are going to take advantage of that? Probably not. The thing is, we haven't lost an away game this season, and we haven't lost Ange Postecoglou yet. So if you want to talk about records and you put your hope in records, there's them too. But also, like, records don't really matter when it comes to being a West Ham fan. When it comes to being a West Ham fan, you shouldn't really be paying attention to records because they don't usually ever work in favour for us in general anyway. Like, coming up against Ange Postecoglou, we've witnessed a David Moyes side come up against Postecoglou. We just sat back twice, went for the draw in the second game, and luckily got a win in the first game. Playing against a high line, against how they played attack, is probably not going to benefit us. Then again, the likes of Tadibo and Kilman, they've played well so far. I do trust Emerson. Even though it is Brennan Johnson's on form, we do have to be aware of his purple patch that he's currently going through. But also, for me, I still think we should be getting at them. I don't think this is an impossible game that we cannot win. If we won there last season, we can win there this season. But they've also got a high line that we can get at. If Brighton can beat them, we can beat them. But then again, I don't think we're that good. I don't think they're that good, to be fair, either. I predicted them to finish in the same place they did last season, but that's because I didn't think any team around in that area actually went upwards. I don't think any of them actually upgraded on what they had. So I still put them in 5th. And also because they have Thursday, Sunday football, I don't think they'll get top 4. Don't get me wrong, I don't think they'll get, what's it called? I don't think they'll get 8th or anything. But I don't think they're that good either. I don't think we're that good. Big up to Colin. Good evening, Mikes. I think we have to come away with a draw at least. I hope we win. I think we need to win. We've only won 2 games, so anything less than a win. I think, even though it sounds mad because it's Tottenham and Man United, but we need to be looking at 6 points because you drew to Brentford, drew to Fulham. Like, make up for them points by winning against these 2 teams. My lineup: Ariola, Wan-Bissaka, Max, Tadibo, Emerson, Rodriguez, Thomas, Kudus, Somerville, Bowen, Ings. I think Antonio needs to start after his performance against Ipswich. To be fair, um, I think Antonio. I think if there was any a game for Antonio to warrant his place, it's probably the Ipswich game. I know there's an international break in between these games, but it like I don't know what the manager's going to go with, but we will get to that in a second. Obviously, we do the lineups every time we do the predicted lineups all the time, and that will be a clip, by the way. If anyone is watching this now, the predicted lineup will be a clip coming out on the Friday. I'm putting that as a separate clip from the stream um, for the predicted lineup, so that'll be on the YouTube channel as well. But I think he probably should go with the same team that played against Ipswich. So I think so it will probably be that team. But let's go through it in general. But should we go through it now? Hold on, give me a second. Yeah, let's go through it now. Hold on, let me just set up the team. But I do think because of the performance against Ipswich, should probably just go with the same 11. Whether I think he'll go with that, I don't know because the international break, we saw what kind of lineup he lined up with when it came to the first international break against Fulham, and that was a questionable lineup to say the least. Pretend Mike's is at the wheel. Antonio played one of the two games at Jamaica. Yeah, I saw he didn't play the first game, didn't he? This is the team I think Lobby will play: Ariola, Wan-Bissaka, Kilman, Tadibo, Emerson, Paquetá, Souček, Rodriguez, Kudus, Antonio, Bowen. Yeah, the same team against Ipswich. That's the team he should go for. Mike's is at the wheel. I kind of part of me wishes I was at the wheel, but let's go with the predicted lineup. Ariola in goal, of course, needs to say he needs to not concede a similar goal to the way he did against Ipswich, because he was partly at fault for that. Even though I do know what people are saying with Paquetá not closing him down, but at the same time, Ariola should deal with that. Wan-Bissaka, one of the best players that we've had this season. Yeah, needless to say, like it's not even a debate whether Wan-Bissaka starts or not, to be honest. And he has to go with the same centre-back partnership, of course. Jean-Claude Tadibo and Max Kilman, who performed really well together in the Brentford and Ipswich game in general. So credit to them, and I hope we see that partnership flourish for games in the future. Just getting them used to each other. No excuses now. We're in October. I'm not trying to hear about but minutes and all this, bro. You've got enough time to rectify that. Don't give me all of that nonsense. Emerson at left back, I don't really get. I think people are over criticizing Emerson unless they want Sufa and Cresswell to start anyway. Thomas Souček, probably his best performance was against Ipswich. Doesn't change my opinion on him. No, it doesn't. But his best performance was against Ipswich. And look, I'm praising the guy when he didn't even score in the game because I don't watch Premier League for stats. I don't watch football for stats. I watch football for performances, and he just kept it ticking. Was actually really decent against Ipswich. Rodriguez played well against Ipswich. I would start Edson Alvarez over him in general. However, he did play well against Ipswich, so maybe he does warrant a start. But long term, he's just a squad player for me. Lucas Paquetá does need to fix up. However, I would start him. I wouldn't start. I probably wouldn't start him, but he probably does start under this manager anyway. Because I also think like he was under Moyes, he's probably one of the manager's favourites as well. I don't think he's going to be benched unless it's for an international break reason anytime soon. If he is benched again and we go with the same midfield that we did against Fulham, then cool. We're actually going to get battered by Tottenham, and it's going to be a long day for us. Jared Bowen on the right. Hopefully he can be used correctly and carry on his form as he did against Ipswich. Same with Mikel Antonio up front. And to be honest, you start Antonio against Tottenham regardless, because this guy becomes a fucking R9 in this fixture. And unfortunately, Mohamed Kudus is going to be on the left. Had a hard time for Ghana, according to people that watch the Ghanaian games. Getting a lot of criticism. So hopefully he can prove people wrong. But that is probably the lineup that the manager is going to go with, and probably the lineup that the manager should go with, if I'm being honest. But then again, if it was up to me, everyone knows who I would start and who I wouldn't start. But at the same time, if we're talking on merit, then this is the lineup that should happen. I hope he plays Alvarez over Rodriguez. I think he has to long term. But yeah, I don't know. I don't know that we've got competition, haven't we? But I agree with you. Sue lol. I give credit where it's due. I give credit where it's due. Doesn't change my opinion on him, but he probably should start in the game. And to be honest, if there's any game that I probably trust Suchek to play, it's this game because he turns up for the big games. To be fair to him, I think he actually turns up more in these sort of games as well. And I think we're probably going to see us play on the counter probably a lot more. And because we play away, we're playing away from home as we've approached it from Brentford away, Fulham away, and Palace away. All London games, by the way. Then what's it called? Then we're going to sit back a lot more. And when I mean sit back, I don't mean sit back as in sitting deep, but just staying compact in our high line and then trying to hit them on the counter, try and offside trap them. Not even offside trap them, but just try and trap them and then win the balls when they try and switch it diagonally, which is what we always do when we play away from home. But I want us to go for it a bit. I think even though they play out from the back, they're not great. They're not fantastic at it. They can be got up when they're pressed, especially because they play so risky as well. It's like when Brighton under De Zerbi, for example, is the same thing. But with the way they play out from the back, I still think they can be got in terms of they're not exactly the most press resistant team, especially if they play Bentancur in 6. I'm going to assume because of the Brighton game that their manager switches up their midfield and tries to play Basuma, tries to play Sarr, has a bit more energy and physicality in their midfield, for example, as well. And we'll see what we get from that. But regardless, we need to be winning our duels this game. If you don't win your duels, they can easily just switch it to one of their wingers and go 1v1 with us. Then we've got to be switched on, and the whole back four is going to be switched on. That's all they do, by the way. It's just go down the line and try and cut it back. That's all they do. Get the ball to Werner, Johnson, Son, whoever it is, and cut it back to Madison or cut it to Solanke. There's not really much to them. There's not much to them. They're technical. The technical side of their team isn't great. They can be got at. But guess what? So can we. My only issue with Alvarez is he's proper bozo at times. He lacks intelligence. I think he has bozo moments, doesn't he? I think he overall his game's decent. And all of a sudden head loss for no reason when there's nothing on. And he doesn't know how to control his aggression. But I hope Somerville does start. I don't think Somerville was going to start, unfortunately, but Somerville never should have been dropped in the first place, and I maintain that. Even though we did win the last game, he didn't do anything wrong against Liverpool and Chelsea for him to be warranted to be subbed off in that Chelsea game and to be dropped in general. My team, Ariana Kilman, Wabasaka Kilman, Tadib Emerson, Alvarez Sweeper, Kudus Soler. There's a lot of players here, I swear. I swear there's more than one. Wait, hold on. Alvarez, Kudus Soler. Oh, right, no. Guilherme left wing, Antonio Bowen. Play Guilherme over Somerville because of his size, stronger, very quick course havoc. I think Somerville's better. Somerville can cut in, and Guilherme isn't too experienced yet. It would be very harsh to just put him in against for the Tottenham away game, for example, because he's barely played. I do want to see Guilherme a lot more, but I knew when we signed him, he was the long-term plan for whenever Paquetá or Kudus leaves, just because he can play on a wing and play the number 10 in general. So whoever leaves first, he's probably going to play more of a part as a squad player for when one of them leaves, for example. Am I overall confident in this game? Not really. Not really. I don't actually look forward to this fixture. I don't. I never look forward to West Ham Tottenham. Because I don't really like the banter between the fans just because it gets a bit boring after the time. Oh, it's your cup final. Oh, blah, blah, blah. Bro, I don't like. I don't actually ever talk about Tottenham fans. I don't, like if you notice, I talk about Arsenal a lot more just because I just like Arsenal are worth talking about. You know. Now, when it comes to Arsenal, they're worth talking about because they're actually trying to do something. With Tottenham, I think they have their ego is better than their actual ability, and that's how it's always been for me growing up. And they hate the fact that we pissed them off, and when we're talking, it rattles them differently. but it gives them this whole new ego for no reason. I don't know what warrants it at all. And they still go on about this cup final thing like we haven't more recently won a cup final in like in general. And even before then, cool, 2008, you're not one to brag about anything because you're going for a trophy drought as well. But our trophy drought is shorter than yours. Do you want a medal for having a trophy drought that is shorter? You're still going for a drought. If you're this so-called big club, then why are you bragging about a shorter drought? That doesn't make any sense. But that's what their fan base are like. Their fan base have no logic. Their fan base doesn't have any logic. Their fan base is cooked, man. Their fan base is so cooked. We're gonna get cooked, man. Do you know what it is? I feel like if we get cooked in this Tottenham game, it will be because of us as well. I'm not even just saying that because it's Tottenham, by the way. I feel like with us, we are the masters of our own downfall, and I feel like that's what it's been every game that we've lost. We've been the masters of our own downfall. I'm not trying to discredit anyone. I'm just saying, like, every loss was preventable. Quite easily. Quite easily preventable. Apart from the second goal against Man City, all of the goals pretty much all the goals we conceded was preventable. These are just errors and bad structures from the manager, individual mistakes from players. Like I just think that these players just need to have 100% concentration. I'm not even sure like whether I can even question these players if I'm questioning all of them, because if you question all of the players, then there's only one problem, and that's the manager. People are gonna be like, "But you won last game." So fucking what? So what? Congratulations on beating Ipswich. You're facing Tottenham away. Can you beat Tottenham away? It's not impossible to go to Tottenham and win a game. It's not impossible to go to Tottenham and get 3 points. It's not. I'm worried about Slanky and Johnson on the wing. Yeah, rightly so. There are literally good players in this squad that I forgot about. Soler, Guilherme, Irving. Any failures this season lie with the manager. Still the best squad we've ever had. Best squad we've ever had in my lifetime, especially. I don't really rate Irving that much, to be honest. I just think he's a bit of a meme. I think he's a decent player. I don't think he's good enough for West Ham. But you're definitely right though about our squad. Like Guilherme is a good young player. Like Soler is a good player. Like from what I've seen, and I think he should be given a chance at this club. I'm not even going to judge Soler until I actually see him properly. And if we don't get to see him properly, I won't judge him. I'm like that with every player. But we have a good squad. We have a good squad. I think we've got a good 15, 16 players, probably. I'm just estimating. I'm probably wrong, but you know what I mean. What's it called? I agree, very naive against good sides, exactly. There's a blueprint to beat this Spurs team and we won't use it. That's also what I'm afraid of as well. Like, for example, I think we could get at this Tottenham side. There's two ways to get at this Tottenham side, and that's either you press really high and you win every draw, you're very aggressive, and you get there before they can pass through you, which is a risk. But if you're good at pressing and you actually coach the press properly, then you'll get there, which we won't do. We won't do. We'll do the same shitty, half-hearted midfield press that we always do. But there's also the other way, or just park the bus and hit them on a counter, which we saw last season. It wasn't necessarily a tactical masterclass last season, but we did defend well in the game last season. Big up, Max. Big up to Early Doors Football TV. Hope you're doing well, my guy. Big up to all of the chats. No, I agree, but Irving is literally fourth choice. Yep. I hear that. I think Irving is a fourth choice midfielder, like when you see him play as well. Hey, Mike. So I just hope for a great team performance, but it all depends upon the lineup. I agree, bro. I don't mind if he goes for the same lineup as the Ipswich game. I don't mind it because it makes sense. I'm not going to complain about the lineup if he does, but let's say you get a bad performance from Kudus on the left. Let's say you get a bad performance from Souček. Let's say you get a bad performance if Bowen is on the touchline again and Wan-Bissaka is playing inverted. None of us can be surprised at this. And I'm not going to be angry about it because at this point I don't care because I'm going to be complaining about the same stuff over and over again. Big up to Mellon as always. 2-1 win West Ham. I fucking hope so. I hope so. I know. Obviously, I'm a pessimist. I didn't go into the Ipswich game confident, but I don't get up for this game anymore because like when it comes to this fixture, I would love it if we win. I'll be shameless and cook all the Tottenham fans if we win the game. Like you'll get one of the best match reactions you've ever seen from me if we win the game. However, if we lose the game, I'm just going to be the same as this, really nonchalant, not really too. I'm going to be more annoyed at the gaslighting rather than the actual game itself. When I get annoyed and I start ranting about this club, it's more to do with what people say rather than me actually caring about the game, because I don't care. Because I know where I want this club to be. I know that we're not going to get there, and I know that this isn't the right manager. Um, what's it called? I know that this isn't the manager to take us forward, nor do I trust him. Now, if you want me to trust him, he's got to like trust himself really. Now he should just go with the last 80 minutes of the Ipswich game, approach the game like that, press high, and let the team play. Let the team play. Just let the team play football, play through the lines, and play on the front foot. I'm not saying we have to play like that at West Ham. I'm just saying to get the best out of these players, that's what you have to do. That's what you have to do. Okay, let's get to the comments as well. Hold on, big up Mikey boy. Hope all is good. Big up Deck. Hope you're well. I'm all good on my side, bro. Raw 10 watching madness. You are doing well, bro. Listen, big up to everyone that's in the chat. If you are not subscribed already, subscribe. We're trying to hit 1K before the end of the year. Also, tomorrow, now that more people are here, I'm on Do Rag Diaries at 2 p.m. George, who's a Tottenham fan, so I'll be on his channel at 2 p.m. Previewing obviously the game, and also at I think 9:45, quarter to 10, or 9:30, I'm going to be on Waffle TV previewing the weekend's games on Honest Rivals. So subscribe to both of them as well. Uh, Big up Tony, the man like Didi, and all in the chat. Hear that, Mikes? Big up Wasim, big up Damien. Smash the like button. If there's 9 people watching it, get it to 9 likes, please, as soon as possible. But yeah, leave what you would line up the team with in the comments as well, because I probably would line up the same as the Ipswich game, even though ideally I don't want Kudus on the left. We've complained millions of times of why I don't want Mohamed Kudus on the left. We know why he isn't the same Mohamed Kudus he is, playing him on the left. We know why. I know what I've complained a million times of why I don't want certain midfielders to start and stuff like that as well. There's obviously a big conversation between the whole Alvarez thing. I don't know. Alvarez is getting a lot of spotlight as well, because obviously it's red card and he hasn't been the same and he's been injured. We're going to give him a bit of a chance just because he came back from the injury and stuff. But it's also interesting because we've got players coming. We've got Alvarez coming back from Mexico, Rodriguez coming back from Argentina. So we're going to see who's going to come out better coming from the international break as well. I also do. Part of me wants Alvarez to start this game because cool, you want them type of passionate players to start who are good technicians in this game. But you also might not want these kind of players to start because you might get a red card again. I'm going to watch Alvarez closely this season because I like the player. I like the player. I just think he needs to control his aggression. I think he can still be aggressive, just control it a bit. And to be fair, he actually wasn't that bad in my opinion with his aggression before the Liverpool game. It wasn't that bad. You get the odd yellow card here and there, and cool, we can deal with that. But when you're on a yellow card, control it. Know that you're on a yellow card. But also, I get it. It's harder as a job as a 6. You see Rice do it. You see Rodri, whoever it is doing it. Yeah, whether it's Caicedo or whatever. You could be capable of getting a yellow card early because you haven't controlled your aggression within the first 20 minutes or whatever. But try not to pick up the yellow card. You know, so early. Is your striker an NFT? What do you mean? I don't get that, bro. I reckon you sneak a 2-1 win against Spurs. That high line could cost them if you set up for a quick counter attack. Yeah, I think we will play the counter, but we also play quite a high line, not as high as them, but I think they could also afford to play a high line with Mickey van der Ven. We need to avoid Van der Ven. For me, we need to avoid Van der Ven. We need to try and get 1v1 with their fullbacks. Kudus isn't a left winger yet, but he can still get at Porro. He can still get at Pedro Porro. Pedro Porro, don't get me wrong, the system helps him and it kind of doesn't show his defensive, weaknesses as much. But Kudus can still get at Porro. Odogi is a good left back, don't get me wrong, one of the better left backs in the league because there isn't many good left backs in the league that are actual left backs. But you need to run at him. Bowen can run at him. He got at Leaf Davis. He could get a doggy. I know a doggy's better than Leaf Davis, but you know what I mean. It's Jared Bowen, man. You can't let Jared Bowen cut in on his left. Calvin Phillips knows that for sure. Um, Ariola, Aaron Wan-Bissaka, Stebo, Kilman, Emerson, Suchek, Alvarez, Kudus in the 10, Bowen right, Somerville, Antonio, no Paquetá. You know what? For this game, I actually would agree with all of that. My rotations only really involve Suchek, Paquetá, Somerville. The rest will start all the time. Fair enough. Fair enough. Yeah, I don't even know at this point. Like, striker for me is it kind of has to be Antonio anyway because as we said, Fulkirk is injured, bro. Like Fulkirk is injured. And the injury is longer than we thought apparently, but no one's telling us how long the injury is and all of that stuff. So Lopetegui needs to build on the team from the Ipswich game. Let's hope he has worked on the squad with the international break. That's what we hoped in the first international break. But he disappointed us against Fulham. So that's why I'm not really getting my hopes up because I thought, okay, they play it behind closed doors friendly. They've learned from the mistakes. We can build on a Man City game. We had something to build on a Man City game as well. We was actually in this exact same position. We lost a couple games, but in the last game before the international break, we built on something. Can we carry that on after the international break? Let's see. But we didn't do that, unfortunately. Spurs defense in the last game was poor. It's very poor as well. And do you know what? Their mentality was poor as well. Wario, in that Brighton game, they went 2-0 up. And I thought, yeah, they're going to run away with this. And then something switched in their head, like, what's it called? Like their mentality switch. They were too complacent with what they had. And they didn't kill off the game. But are we capable of a comeback? I don't think we've seen that yet. We haven't seen that yet this season. We just score and maybe we can score an equalizer, and then we just don't capitalize on that. I don't know if, yeah, I don't know at this point. I don't believe in this team. I'll be real. But that's just because of the manager, not because of anything else. Still injured, but Lopetegui was giving out cryptic clues about full crooks, so who knows? Even Colin got good. I used to be all for Kudus through the middle, but I've not seen enough passing creativity to warrant dropping Paquetá for him. But I've not seen anything from Paquetá to warrant to carry on starting him if it's not for Kudus, you know what I mean? But I also do agree with you as well, because even though Paquetá's been horrible this season, we'd still look lost without him. But that's because the manager likes to play Suchek at a 10. I was sell Fulkirk in January. Sounds harsh, but I don't think he's going to be good enough for the injury. Just caused the first concern. Awful signing, in my opinion. We haven't given him a chance, but if it's for purely injuries, I hear you. If it's for purely injuries, yeah, but I wouldn't sell him. I want to give him a chance, but it is what it is. And this is why I'm just so deflated when it comes to this club, man. I can't be asked. I think only us have a worse set piece defensive statistic also. So set pieces could get abused against them. The problem is we're terrible at taking set pieces this season. Bowen isn't a set piece taker. And the problem is a lot of outswinging corners from Burn, even an in-swinging corners from Burn. None of our set pieces have been good this season. And even when we do like from free kicks as well, like Paquetá can't cross a ball from a free kick, and you can't get past the first man. None of them can. But I don't know. Do you think you meeting Spurs at the wrong time since they want to show a reaction from the last game? No, not really, because I don't think Tottenham are that kind of team that show a reaction. I don't think Tottenham are a team where, okay, we're in the dumps here, let's show a reaction. I don't think they're that kind of team. I also think that because Tottenham West Ham is one of them games where it's so unpredictable, bit of a feisty game, that nothing really matters before the game. But it's kind of just like whoever fucks up the least wins the game usually. That's what Tottenham versus West Ham is. Whoever is less shit wins the game. Like whoever can make more luck out of themselves will win. That is what Tottenham versus West Ham has always been when you've looked at the games in the past. Yeah, more of a Lingard style 10. I actually agree because it's more for the case of picking up the ball from deep sometimes, having the freedom to go to 10 and just running at players because you're not going to get the ball off him anyway because he can run past like 4 or 5 players, hold off 4 or 5 players as well. So him in a 10, like it's going to be very hard to get the ball off him. People have set ideas of what a 10 should be. That's also true as well. Yeah, Paquetá hasn't been great, but at least he tries to pass. Kudus just tries dribbling for entire teams. I do think you need. That's why I wanted them to both play in the middle, because Paquetá can pass from deep and Kudus can run at players. That's why I think we needed both of them. Um, he's been shackled on the left, bro. His instinct is to go away from the goal because he's left-footed. I hate playing Paquetá on the left. I hate it. And do you know what? I'm going to diffuse a West Ham myth. A lot of people do the whole Paquetá versus a Paquetá on the left thing because he links up with Emerson. Let me diffuse something quick. Now, the link up between Paquetá and Emerson is really good, but I was even complaining about this last season, and anyone could go watch my old match reactions to justify this. When we played Paquetá on the left, it was good with Emerson, but we needed a third man runner to help them. So that's why I'm saying in a 4-3-3, you play Paquetá as a left of a three in the midfield to link up with Emerson and a winger, so that they could all bounce off each other. That's why I wanted Somerville to start and Paquetá in the middle, and get Kudus on the other side of the middle to link up with Bowen, and maybe Wan-Bissaka to make them runs on the other side. Because we'd actually be more creative than we let off the shackles. But the problem is we've got another shackled manager. We've got a manager that doesn't want to go for it. He's not going to go for it this game. He's not going to go for it in any game. He only decided to go for it against Ipswich because they struggled to play it from the back, so he tweaked it in game. He's not going to do that against Tottenham. And the whole Paquetá on the left thing, you're putting your most creative player that can see all angles of the pitch on the touchline. On the touchline, where he could only pass, make like three of the same kind of passes, really. What's it called? Give me a sec. All this betting scandal in the FA possibly playing on Paquetá's mind could be affecting this game. If it is affecting this game, though, the manager should see that and drop him. We was better at quarters when Craig Dawson was at West Ham. You know what it is, bro? But we were getting the ball to him. Like, if Craig Dawson was playing now, what's it called? If Craig Dawson was at now, it wouldn't be getting to him. Like, he wouldn't even be able to get onto anything because the ball ain't coming to him. Listen, the number 10 in the last 20 years is totally fake role now. It is to be anywhere in the offensive half. Look at Cunha for us. He picks it up at the halfway line to run. Yeah, true. The problem is a lot of managers as well like to play just the most energetic guy in the 10, like the Gallaghers as well of this one, and the Bruno Fernandezes and players like that, and the players that don't actually know how to control a football, which is not what a 10 number 10 should be. But in the modern era, it is. Paquetá on the left with Emerson suited the counter-attacking style, say with Bowen up top. But even when we weren't counter-attacking, that's where we were. That's where it stopped for me. That's where it stopped. Where when we had the ball, we were trying to build up, quotation marks under a David Moyes team. We needed that third man runner, the man who could run in behind. Pause. I agree. Him playing on the left is the best position, but at the same time, it doesn't force him to run into dead ends and lose the ball. I still think he's losing the ball too much on the left because where else is he? You can't put your most creative person, on the left-hand side. All he really has is otherwise is an inside pass. It's true. I really like Kudus, so he has some crazy potential, but he's starting to be put on a pedestal that his decision making and performances don't warrant. But he's also playing for me out of position, which goes on a manager for me. I like to see Kudus in the false nine. The thing is, he did play that for Ajax. He did play that for Ajax. I remember seeing it at Anfield. He actually scored in the false nine. He can play false nine. So can Paquetá as well. But I don't think this manager will know how to coach a false nine. I don't think this manager doesn't even know how to coach a basic 4-3-3, let alone a false nine. So I don't know. I have a feeling that he's either going to play the same midfield of the Ipswich game, or he's going to play Alvarez, Rodriguez, and Souček again because we're playing away from home against Tottenham. I think he's going to play that same shitty midfield that we saw against Fulham. Yeah, just an inkling. Because as much as I put the Paquetá lineup thing, that's what he should go for. And if Paquetá doesn't come off international break so shit, then what's it called? Then that will be the lineup. But it looks like when that isn't the case, and Paquetá isn't the case, he isn't going to play Sole in the 10. He's going to play Kudus in the 10. He's going to play fucking Souček in the 10 and play Alvarez and Rodriguez. Where's the ball retention in that? Where's the creativity? Where's the idea in possession? There is nothing of the sort in any of those things. What's it called? Lol, yeah, ain't that right? He will die by the 4-3-3 sword. Yeah, it's going three at the back. To be fair, I don't want to see three at the back with this West Ham side. I don't want. I get PTSD every time I see three at the back at West Ham, and just for the David Moyes era. And also, I remember when we played three at the back against Tottenham last time, it did not work. In fact, it wasn't even a three; it was a five, and we just sat 8 players behind the ball and just long balled it to Antonio and Bowen. Oh, trust me, bro. It is worse than a war crime. So worse. Like, there's no ball retention. There's no idea. We literally saw it against Fulham. He took Antonio Suchik off at half time, like because of his tactics. That was your fault. That was all your fault. And I'm not going to get angry about it again, but he doesn't make any sense with any of his decisions. Obviously, we don't see what happens in the dressing room. We don't see what happens on the training pitch. But guess what? We watch the games and we can see what's wrong. But he clearly can't. He clearly can't. And as I said in the Ipswich match reaction, I was happy to just win. But all the positives, they didn't shackle the negatives for me. Because as much as I can see that we played really well against Ipswich, we're not going to play like that. Because not that we can't play like that, but the manager won't instruct us and allow us to play like that with the intention to play on the front foot and stuff like that. He's not going to do it. He's going to be restrictive again. He's going to go long again because we're away from home and we must, put all the shackles on because we're playing away from home. It's stupid. People about, but you haven't lost the game. Yeah, 2 of those were draws against Fulham and Brentford. There's nothing to write home about. Especially if you're meant to be a team that was hyped up to be in Europe this season. That's not happening. That's not happening. So, is what it is. Is what it is. But that's the thing with this game. Like, I'm always negative. I'm always negative. Like, people could call me negative. I'm a West Ham fan. What do you expect? What do you expect from me? Do you expect me to be constantly positive and be like, yes, we're going to win this game and we're going to batter Tottenham? I don't do all of that because I'm not fake. I reckon if I was I don't even know if I was positive that is there even a positive West Ham fan on YouTube? I don't even know. But if I was to be positive, I don't even know if I'll have more subs because I know that's the case for other clubs and big six clubs and that. I don't even know if that would be the case. But I can't fake it. I can't go into every game and be like, and just go, have some chest about the game. No. I've seen it all. I've seen it all when it comes to losing to individual teams. Do you guys remember we were close to losing to Kidderminster in the FA Cup? I've seen it all. We had to get Declan Rice to run through their team and score a last minute equaliser. I don't have any. I'm not asked about this club when it comes to saying it with chest. Like, listen, it's gonna sound dumb, but if Lopetegui was to leave, and even we get a manager that I like here, I'm not even gonna do the whole shameless thing. I'll do it for the video, and then when we actually talk football, I'll give you my proper reason of why I'm not going to get my hopes up. Because how many times have I got excited about this club in my years of watching West Ham United? Have I got excited and this club has let me down? So many times. So that's why I don't get up for it. I don't get up for it. I give you my thoughts just from a footballing angle because I can't get really emotional about this club anymore. I can't. I really don't rate Lopetegui. I'm in the same boat as you, Max. I'm surviving it. I'm surviving him at the moment. That's the thing. I'm going to come back to that in a sec. I'll be real. As much criticism as I have for Kudus, I think him, Bone Paquetá, and Antonio Alvarez have all been well below par. And that's the thing. We're looking at all those players, and maybe apart from Antonio the last 2 years, you look at the other players you mentioned, we would say we should build all around those other players. And if they're all playing bad, I know who my blame is going to go towards. And I know you're the same with the manager as well. Who would you have to replace Lop? Who do you think West Ham could get now? No clue. It depends what it depends what the club want to do. Whether if they want to go and pay compensation, then try again for Amarim. Then try again for someone else. I don't know. I don't know who I would get because I don't know who would come to us. I don't know who would want to join West Ham and stuff like that. And I'm not really educated with the amount of managers that are available worldwide that could do a job. Lopetegui has to start an established side now. The tinkering needs to stop as it's causing damage. Can't rely on win lose tactics. Yeah, facts as well on win lose tactics, especially. And with the tinkering, the thing is, what he says in the media is almost hindering his own player selections as well, because he's talking about giving players time and giving players time to settle in, but he's constantly changing the lineup. So we don't get to see a starting 11 that could work well together. So he's kind of wrecking it himself. I want Carrick. I don't want a former player managing this club. I don't want anyone that used to play for this club managing this club, because if they come under criticism, they're just going to be like, everyone's just going to be like, but he knows the club, because the whole emotional standpoint of it. I think Carrick is a good manager. I actually think he could go to the Premier League and do a good job, but I don't want any former players here. I don't want to risk it. The quality of player we have will mean we finish around mid-table, and people will think it's a platform for him to get a second season, but deep down he shouldn't. Joe, you've actually put two comments that I actually want to address, so let me just start both of them. I'm going to come back to those two comments. Yeah, he's good with us also. Yeah, like he seems he seems like a manager that just wants chaos. He wants chaos. There is a lot of there's talk of Thomas Frank might be in line. I would be unsure of Thomas Frank. That's the thing. Going back to this comment earlier from Damien, I really don't rate Lopetegui in the same boat as you. I'm surviving. That's the thing as well. Like, we would all wanted him to give him a chance at this club, because we saw the direction that we thought the team should go in. We saw the potential in this starting lineup. We saw the potential in the squad in general. When he came in, and we were always going to back the manager, cool. But once we see what we're seeing, and we was always willing to give time, I didn't have any expectations. And going on to this second comment, when we're talking about we've got finishing mid-table as a platform to get a second season, that was actually my expectation from the start of the season. Get whatever you want to do at this club and install it into the players. If you finish mid-table, cool. You better get Europe next season. However, the reason why I'm out now is because I think he's going to do even worse if he carries on like this. I think he's going to finish even below. And the reason why I think that is because he doesn't even know what his starting 11 is. He doesn't even know what his starting play is. I don't know what we're trying to do on the ball and off the ball. And when you don't know what your team is trying to do off the ball, that is an even bigger problem. But yeah. Hold on. Yeah, I would have taken Thomas Frank before we appointed Lopetegui. I'm interested to know how he would play with this squad. Just because, for example, he plays two different ways. Sometimes he can park the bus, sometimes he just goes for it. He's a tactical manager. He likes to tinker as well. He does get the best out of the players that he has. I think he might do a good job with us. With this squad, I don't know. I don't know whether I'd want. I'd put. I don't know. I don't know whether it's the type of manager I would want. I do want a possession-based manager, just not because of the West Ham way and all this, because that's not me. I didn't grow up on Alan Devonshire and all that. I didn't grow up on actual good players at West Ham. I grew up on Payet, and that was it. Payet and Noble and Lanzini, that was the best I saw, and the occasional Kevin Nolan masterclass. So I'm not with the whole. I'm not with the West Ham way era. But what I am with is getting the best out of your players. And I think if you want to get the best out of these players, you play on the front foot. You play on the front foot. I want a manager that was. I think we missed a trick on De Zerbi with the whole. If you want to actually pay a compensation in for him, but then again, did he want to make a sideways move from Brighton to West Ham, which I don't think is a sideways move, but you know what I mean. He's gone to Marseille, a massive club, so I can see why he went to Marseille. But he was also linked with Man United, who are shit. Barcelona, Bayern Munich, etc., and all them clubs as well. So I think we may have missed a trick as well. Even though I don't actually rate De Zerbi as highly as everyone else, because I think De Zerbi is, you know how Moyes is constantly like defensive. De Zerbi's the whole other spectrum, the opposite of attacking, where I think he's naive towards his defenses, which I think we'd actually get caught out and battered. But put it this way, any manager that has a West Ham side and is getting battered more than once a season, you're not the manager for me. You're not the manager for me. I don't want to see my team getting battered. We've already been battered by Chelsea this season. People say, oh, it's only 3-0. Only 3-0 is the problem at this club. Your mentality is poor if you think it's only 3-0. Sorry, let me go to your first comment. Yes and no, he does know his football, but he does wants it all laid on a plate for him. That's true. which is why, in my humble opinion, he was happy at the start of your season because you got him signings. But now, weirdly, he ain't getting them working. But yeah, do you give him time? He's had it laid down a plate for him, and here, my example, I'm still not impressed. Yeah, agreed. Facts all around. Facts all around. I'm in agreement. I said Jory's out because of his stint at Wolves, etc. Let's give him a chance, but if no change, the board will need to react quickly. I think that's a fair assessment. I understand that. But this is where he will knuckle down or try to head for his exit, is my concern for you guys. You saw how he smoke bombed us. I think because of funds, though. If he leaves now, he looks like an utter prick because he just looks like a coward. If he leaves and just leaves, if he leaves now after being backed, the way he's been backed, you're the problem. Like, you can't blame anyone else. You could deflect it on the Wolves board when you was at Wolves because you didn't get back cool. You can't deflect it on anyone else apart from yourself. Like, as much as I don't rate a lot of the fringe players out here, you've got a good 15, 16 players that you can work with and get the best out of. And also, you've also, what's it called? You've got a squad that is actually better than a lot of other squads. We've technically, in my opinion, got a better squad than Newcastle, in my opinion. Newcastle got good individuals in certain positions. We've got a better squad than Newcastle. Like, but they've got a better coach. Even though I think Eddie Howe's declining and Newcastle gone stale because they're like a transfer window. But you can't complain. You can't complain. Mike's Thomas Frank also reacts with the fans. Look here, with Brentford, great relationship with them. Yeah, I do also think they have the environment for that. I don't know whether he'd do the same with us just because of the way our stadium is. Maybe with the away fans, he can as well. If he gets the fans inside as well, though, he might be able to create an atmosphere. But I doubt we ever create an atmosphere at our stadium because our stadium is shocking. But in general, I understand why people would want him, but I'm just unsure whether he's the type of manager I would want for this squad. Not that he's a bad manager; he's a good manager, but I don't know. Let's see if he can work with a bigger budget as well. I'd love him to walk. Listen. If he walks now, I don't applaud you. I'd be like, yeah, thank fuck for that. But I'd also be concerned with whoever we appoint next. We don't sack managers. Like, in my lifetime, we haven't really done that. Like, I know we have sacked managers, but you know what I mean. Like, not frequently. Like, Pellegrini was the quickest one. It was like the second season in. It was a season and a half. Moyes was 4 years. Bilic was 2.5. Like, just about 2.5. Allardyce was like 4 years. 4 years? Yeah, 4 years. We'll say 4 years. It was 3 years, but whatever. And listen, he can't complain about the squad. He can't complain at all. Like, remember, guys, in the summer, all he said was about 2 players in each position. He has, apart from centre back, he has 2 players in each position anyway. And the club are happy with either Kalen Casey being a fourth choice centre back or Edson Alvarez being a fourth choice centre back. He's happy with them two as the fourth choice centre back. So in goalkeeper, he's got 2 players. Right back, he's got 2 players. Left back, he's got 2 players. Centre back, we've said he's got 2 players. In the number 6, he's got 2 players. And the number 8, he's got 2 players. And the number 10, he's got 2 players. In the wing, on both wings, he's got 2 players. Striker, he's got 3. He has no excuses. No excuses whatsoever. And everyone that stayed, he wanted to stay. So, by the way, none of this has to do with the previous manager, because letting go of the previous manager was the right decision. It was hiring this manager that was the wrong decision. So, fuck whoever is trying to compare both of them. They were both shit. Moyes was good for an extent, fell off. Lopetegui isn't good. I think Tim Standard still wants Amarim. I agree. I still think he's a fan of 5 at the back. I'm worried that style of play will suck the last bit lives of the London Stadium. With the way Amarim plays, I think he plays 3 at the back in a good way. I don't like 3 at the back, but I would trust him to play for that. The problem is with getting Amarim now is that we don't have an Amarim squad. Like, where does Wan-Bissaka fit in a 3 at the back? I know Wan-Bissaka's been good going forward. I don't see him as a wing back. But I also don't see Soler playing in this team. I don't see. No, actually, not to be fair, everyone else could probably play in this team. Then again, Souček as well. I don't think Souček will fit, but oh no. But because of the way the 2 holding midfielders kind of work in this side, but I think the way he plays 3 at the back would actually be quite inspiring because he's the kind of manager I like where he's quite balanced with the way he approaches things when it comes to attacking and defensive and being defensive, where he can switch up and tinker. and like not tinker, tweak in-game stuff. Lopetegui doesn't do that enough. He did it in the Ipswich game, but he's not going to do it in this game. He's not going to do it in many games. And the problem is Lopetegui reacts too late. The only reason why I worked against Ipswich is because Ipswich didn't capitalise on any sort of demise that West Ham had. Whereas, what's it called? Amarim could tweak very quickly. I think he's the kind of manager I like, to be honest. Yeah, to be fair, Salah is on loan. I don't know if we even go for him. Like, so I love Pite, the Kenny, some of my heroes, but I watch West Ham in the more Bonds, Brook, and Devonshire, and they're just some of my heroes. See, yeah, you're lucky, bruv. You're lucky, bruv. I watch Carlos Sanchez and Jack Wilshere and Havard Nordveit and players like that. I get it. Like, the older fans saw more relegations than me, but you saw more relegations with actual footballers. I can tell you, like, Roger. I watched Roger Johnson. I watched Jose Font. Like, these are players that I've watched. I'm watching a 35-year-old Aaron Cresswell line up at Anfield. I'm watching Vladimir Sufal after the groin injury. I'm watching Suchek at times flop it. Okay, cool. He gets a good goal, and apparently, according to some weirdos, he's onto legend status according to your articles and shit like that. Fuck your articles, bruv. Not you, not anyone in the chat. But everyone knows the articles I'm talking about. That's the thing. I don't have any problem with West Ham YouTube channels yet, because to be fair, I haven't delved into every channel, but from what I've seen, I don't really have any malice towards anyone's certain opinions on the West Ham YouTube space. And also, I'm not going to do this whole calling out YouTube things for the sake of it, because it's just I don't care that I just don't care that much. I don't know these people, but I have a lot of problems with these articles, because I think these football fan cast lot and these like Football Insider, like Football London and shit like that. Fair enough. Big up to yourself, bro. I've got an early start tomorrow as well, but I'm still here, unfortunately. What would you rate Standard's impact out of 10 so far? I'd give it. I've got to take the managerial appointment into this, because, to be fair, ex-West Ham employee did say he's in charge of the managerial appointments as well. Great transfer window, though. And I still maintain that it was a great transfer window. I'm going to go 8. I'm going to go 8 so far. So far, I'm going to say an 8. I think he's literally done everything right apart from hire the right manager. And we'll see if whoever the next manager is, if Stardon's still here, because you don't know with football at that point. If Stardon's still here, we get some other bozo, then I definitely know it's not him. But from what X said, it was him. That is in charge of the whole thing. In fact, we weren't even interested in Lopetegui at first. That was his words, and then we went back in for him. I remember we were being linked with Company. Like, Company is a weird one, because I actually think he's quite a good manager, but I don't know how he would have done with this squad. Maybe, I think he would have done better, but the problem is, the only problem with pushing Kilman up into a DM sweeper role is because, like, he's already doing well playing centre back, so I just wouldn't ruin that, and I don't want to play Mavropanos. So I'd rather just keep Kilman and Sadiba. We've got midfield option. We've got enough midfielders. We shouldn't be even considering putting Kilman into DM. I think he'd do a good job there, as you said, but he played so well at centre back. That's the thing. We don't know, though. We don't know what Fulcrook has to do in the PL, because he's not going to fucking play. But 8 is where I'm at. Big up to Tony as well. Smash the likes if you haven't already. If we're not on 9 likes, it's a disgrace. But I'm always going to give I'm always going to be an extra defensive with strikers at this club. Like, it was going to be the same with Duran, for example. Like, I don't mean to bring up Duran, but let's say we got Duran. A lot of these people would be onto Duran straight away. I'm just very defensive when it comes to strikers, because of the way we don't manage to get work. I think Fulcrook is a really good player, but he's got an injury. Cool. But not the manager, but we should be preparing for that anyway. We should, if you're happy with the squad, get it to work. Get it to work, because you're happy with the alternatives as the manager. So you don't have any excuses. If Duran was here, for example, everyone would be onto Duran. But the guy, I even said when I thought we were going to get Duran, and when it was a stream where we watched that Duran comp, some of you were even there. I said give him a chance and let him be integrated as a first team player, like in terms of a first team starter. Because the guy, even though the guy's played in the Premier League before, I would still give him his first season because he wouldn't have what's it called? I've started it regularly for a Premier League side yet. So if he was going to start regularly for us, give him a chance. But I don't even think he would necessarily hit the ground running under this manager because this manager doesn't even attack properly. So I don't even think he would get that many goals anyway. Uh, for our side as he would have for Emery. But then again, everyone would have blamed Duran and said, "Oh, he's a flop in like his first fucking 20 minutes." This is what pisses me off though. Like I want to give people a chance. I'm always going to give you a chance in your first season if you don't play in a Premier League. If you don't play in the Premier League, or you haven't played in the Premier League on a regular basis, or we've signed you straight away after you've just moved to a Premier League team for one season, I'm going to give you a chance. And I'm going to have context in this as well. This is why I defend the past strikers that have been at this club. Even though people are going to be like, well, you should have gave a Jetty a chance and all that. Jetty was just a pointless signing. That's why I don't talk about him. Zaza and Kaleri. The reason why I was so angry with the Zaza Kaleri thing was because do you remember the whole talk at the time was, oh, we're getting this big striker, and the owners are doing this typical media nonsense where they talk so much in the media. Whole Carlos Bacca situation, and Lacazette, and all these strikers we were linked with. To be fair, Lacazette probably would have that screamed a West Ham flop at the time anyway. But that's why I was angry at the Zaza Kaleri thing at the time. But I also didn't have the same mentality of giving people a chance in their first season when we signed them players. I don't know. That's probably what we should be doing, but I don't know if we're actually going to sign another two players. Duran looks so good, bouncing around, looking to cause havoc, fast twitch, muscle fibers, lol. Yeah, so like he's made really good impacts. I think Emery should eventually be starting him because Watkins hasn't settled into the season as good as Duran has. But then again, Emery might be looking at it like he might be being like Duran is effective as a substitute right now, so maybe I just keep doing what I'm doing and stuff like that. But eventually, surely Duran starts and maybe he gives Watkins a kick up the arse. And listen, Duran's not going anywhere now. He signed a new deal. I think that whole thing was to use everyone's interest to then stay, but it is what it is. Question: you've got 30 minutes in January to play with. What do you do with it realistically? Fucking off, 30 million. That's nothing in this day and age. Because I'm thinking what Colin said, centre back and striker. Can we even get another loan? Because we've got Taniba and Solo. Can we even get another out there loan? 30 million. There's no striker that I think you can get that I'd want for 30 million. I don't think anyone would be available. And because everyone charges so much higher in January because it's mid-season as well, I'm not sure. I'm not exactly too sure on how I would spend 30 million in January. Centre back as well. Centre back would probably needs to be addressed maybe properly more, just because we have three. But then again, I don't know what centre backs are available. No, we're looking at free agent options. I'm glad we did actually go after John Egan in the end because, like, even if he signed, I wouldn't care because he was fourth choice. But like, I'm glad we didn't go after that because we saw him in a friendly. It was like, nope. Matip retired. He retired from football. Fair enough. I don't know who you get. I don't know what you do with that because you can't really do anything with 30. But I just said if we've only got 30 million in January, but might as well give up. Even you don't will not give up, but you know what I mean. Like, don't spend it or just get a loan. I know the name, David. I know the name. I've not watched him play though. I've seen his name float around, but I've not watched him play. I'm sure though with the scouting system that we have, I have trust in starting to address issues that we may have in January. But we're not really a January spending club as it is. So I'm not going to be too angry if we don't spend in January because I think if you spend all that in the summer and you're still finding issues in January, again, it only points down to one man, and that is the manager. Just my opinion. Because he's got a squad already that he can work with for the rest of the season. It's not really much of an excuse, really, is it? So, to be honest with you, I'm not really looking at January. Coming up to this game now, how like the way we set up is also important as well. because we set up in two completely different ways. We set up either what's it called? Either set up playing on the front foot or set up playing long ball. Or we set up the way against Brentford where we do a bit of both and we don't know what we're doing. I like the links in the summer. Names like Duran, Samu were refreshing. Yeah, it actually looked like we were going into that. Listen, I was clowning this Samu guy just off comp, but I would watch like when I watched him against Man United, he was actually decent. He's a bit weird. He's a bit like a B-Tech Lukaku in a sense, but he's also very effective. I probably would have taken him as well. Any day of the week, and I would have given him a chance because he's not played in the Premier League before. But obviously, with the way the scouting system actually addressed the targets that we may have now, and like the kind of players that we'd be going for in different leagues and stuff, I'm rating the way the targets that we're looking at because we go after people that we wouldn't go for before because we have a scouting system. We have a director of football, technical director, whatever you want to call it. We have scouts around it as well. That's the thing. Like, don't get me wrong, we do need to address the centre back and striker issues in January if we really do have funds, as Colin is saying and stuff like that. But even if we don't sign these two players, there is no excuses. No one can say the manager hasn't been backed, and no one can blame Steiden for it. If the Lopetegui inners that are Steiden inners start turning on Steiden instead of Lopetegui, yeah, there got to be some brain dead people out there because that man has given him that transfer window, and you can't get it to work. And as I said, let's say cool, the Fulkirk thing, cool. He wanted Antonio and Ings. He liked Danny Ings. Like, cool, he wanted to also ship him out the door and see if we could get an offer from Southampton, but he also likes Danny Ings. He also likes Antonio. You better get this to work, man. You must get this to work. And also, I have criticised a lot of players, yeah? I've criticised a lot. But since that Liverpool Carabao Cup game, I held back on the players. Because if I'm complaining about everyone, pretty much, that has already been here before, forget the new signings for just a second. If I'm complaining about every existing player that was here from last season, there's only one problem. So we'll see how we get on against Tottenham. We'll see how we get on against Tottenham. With the Tottenham game, like, I don't know. I don't like the fact that we're early kickoff. But that would just ruin my weekend. I mean, to be fair, I don't care that much. But well, I mean, I don't care that much. It's not going to make me too unhappy because I'll just get on with it because it doesn't affect me like that anymore because I know what this club is now. I know what this club is in terms of trying to piss me off. Like, you get excited and your excitement just goes once reality hits again. And to be honest, I wasn't even that excited. I said 10th. And everyone looked at me like I was mad. Not the chat or not you guys. But every YouTuber I collaborated with looked at me like I was mad, predicting us to finish 10th because they all predicted us to finish high. I'm like, nope, we'll finish 10th. But we might still finish 10th. But it might look even worse than I thought it was going to. The thing is, do you know what's funny about this? Like, it's not going to take a lot. If he really wanted to, it doesn't take a lot to get me on side. If he really wanted to. Because all he has to do is to tell the players to play with a little bit of freedom and play through the middle a lot more, play at the back a lot more, and attack. That's all he has to do. That's all he has to do as the manager. Just tell them to play football. He doesn't actually have to do much. He doesn't. If he does that and stays like that and just, tweaks it a little bit, keeps his philosophy, but tweaks it a little bit, then it's fine. But he's not going to do that. He's not going to. Now, Steiner has done a good job. Just hope if it becomes totally apparent, which I think it will, that Fulkirk ain't that guy. Yeah, there's no qualms in him moving him on. I know they are mates. We don't even know if Fulkirk ain't that guy because he hasn't played. Yeah, I got forward. I fancy you lot for top 6. I did try to say, brother, Big up to you, Taz, as always, and make sure to subscribe to Taz. But do I even need to say? Do you are a Man United fan? Do I even need to say anything, bro? Do I even need to say it? The jokes write themselves. Sorry, Damien, I can't work for inside the club. Okay, but like, this is the thing with this club, yeah. Bring you up to put you back down. That's why I didn't even get up there for in the first place. Said this ain't about my team. Have some self awareness, bro. I don't know why you Man United fans always try and wind me up. I think you're a few pieces off being a solid unit, though, mate. But is the gaffer that bad, or those missing pieces that are important? I legit think like we will always have something to address every transfer window, but for me, it's the manager that is the main problem. And the thing is like weird logic that people try and use. But you complained about the last manager. Yeah, I did complain about the last manager. It doesn't mean I have to not complain about this manager as well. I've complained about every manager that I've watched at this club. I've complained about all of them. Like, doesn't mean that the next manager is going to be good because Lopetegui's doing a bad job. Like, if Lopetegui goes and the next manager does shit, do you expect me to not call him out? Like, what do you expect me to do? Like, that's the thing. It's not 1 + 1 = 2 in football. 1 + 1 could equal 500 and 300 and 400 and 500. As I said, 500 twice. You know what I mean? Like, that's not how football works. It's not black and white. It's not heads and tails. Like, there's some deformed coins out there. Because it's all about the right appointment. 90% of the way the manager plays, the way the team plays is on the manager nowadays in football, because 90% of football is tactical now. The reason why people look at, for example, like style of play and stuff like that, or what's it called? Style of play and philosophy, playing on a front foot, and all of that stuff, is because it's all on the manager. Players are robotic in 2024. It's on the manager to get the best out of the players. That's a simple concept. Forget style of play for 1 second, are you getting the best out of your players? If the answer is no, get the fuck out my club. Yeah, the gaffe is the most important issue. I think the board like older managers for some reason. We'll see. We'll see. I know Sullivan does. But let's say if it's a similar breed of manager for next time, then don't even bother trying to get your hopes up. But I'm gonna end it there, people. I'm gonna end it there. I do need to get up at a reasonable time tomorrow. But make sure to like the video. Make sure to subscribe if you are new. If you want to hear more of my thoughts on the game, join me on Durag Diaries tomorrow at 2 p.m. And I'll be on Waffle TV at either 9:30 or 9:45. Hold on, let me quickly check. 9:30, 9:30. So 2:30 and 9:30. At 2:30, I'll be on George's channel, Durag Diaries, and at 9:30, I'll be on Waffle TV as well. So watch out for that. And also, by the way, try to get to 1K as soon as possible, people. I've got some big plans for YouTube for when we hit 1K. I've got 2 things in mind, so keep an eye out, bro. Villa fan, you've literally clicked on it right at the end, bro. So go rewind the stream if you want to catch up with it. I'm gonna get to these last 2 comments. Yeah, you saying that? I bet you see an OG team like Wimbledon are going to get promoted for the championship and mash this battle out because people don't want that long ball battle anymore. Peace and good stream as always, mate. Big up to yourself, Deck, as always. Make sure to like the video, people. Make sure to subscribe if you're new. Social medias are in the description if you want to follow me. And an email for any inquiries. I'll see you guys later. Goodbye.